That's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone, and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. But that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow!
All right, here we go. Retro Fandango, episode number 255. I think I hit go live. Yeah, I did. Okay, good. I'm here. Richard's here with a very, very high. What is that? What is the part that connects your cans on your headphones? That head part, very high. It's very, very high.
For the record, these are the exact same headphones I wear every single recording.
I have never noticed that. I've never noticed.
Oh.
There's a lot of space there.
I did not design them. I don't know.
That is inches of space. Inches.
I don't know. Maybe these are designed for people who have enormous heads.
I have a very small head. Very small head. Every time I put on a hat, it's like, I'm on like the is it the lowest setting or the highest setting? It'd be the lowest setting. Fit on my head. That's how I know my head's small.
Well, this one has your handy, easy grip handle.
Yes.
See, that would be a feature if they sold these as seen on TV style. This would be, like the easy grip. You gotta promote every feature of your product.
Oh boy. Well,
what if, in an emergency, if I gotta just like run away, pull them right off.
Yes, you will not lose precious seconds waiting to take your headphones off. You could just one-hand it. If you had something in your other hand,
carefully grab them by the sides and
I would need two hands, right? I gotta take them off like that. But you just one-handed, so you could be holding like a sandwich or something and just rip them off. Wow!
Now you're starting to see it. $29.95. Order now. Hey, what is that cup?
Oh, this is an old cup. This is you won't. So
is
Sarah
that
went.
Thinker? What is that?
No.
Oh no.
No. Wait, hold on. Let me get my camera groove on.
There you go.
Okay. So this is the grand opening, March 22nd, 24th, 1994. It's the art gallery, I think. The return of the UCC. It's one of Sarah's cups. She went to the university. She went to the University of Windsor. No, Western University. Oh my God. I just woke up from a nap. She went to Western University, and while she was there, they opened up a new section of the university that's all dedicated to art, and that is a facsimile of the opening to the with balloons.
Okay.
The opening of the new wing or whatever. I saw it last summer when we went. If you recall, I took Sarah to Paris, London, and Berlin, Ontario. And in London, Ontario, we went biking. We rented some bikes and we biked around, and she took me to the campus and she showed me. She's like, the cup. That's the entranceway. So there you go. Aren't you glad?
The bizarre thing is that in Japan, UCC is a company that makes coffee.
And there's coffee in this cup. Whoa.
What do you know?
Everything comes together. So, just on behalf of all Canadians everywhere, I just want to say to the entire world, you're welcome. We Canadians showed you what to do when the United States starts picking on you, and there you go. So, good job, Canada.
Good job, Canada. You see a lot more flags flying these days.
A lot less United States flags, that's for sure. And it is nice how
did people tend to fly U.S. flags in Canada?
We had flags in at least almost every hockey arena. Because we would play against American teams and we would play their national anthem. So we had,
Hmm.
yeah, we were very like we had American flags everywhere, to show our kinship, our friendship. And there's been a few municipalities in Ontario. I'm not sure about the rest of Canada, but definitely in Ontario that have decided to take them all down.
Hmm.
My old stomping grounds where Bill lives in Barrie decided to take them down. So yeah, it hasn't happened here in Sudbury yet, but our OHL team does play against a few American teams. So I don't know if they ever would go that far, but yeah, there you go. We can be petty too.
There you go.
Um, but yeah, what'd you think of that? You were in a trade war for your adoptive country of Japan was in a trade war with the United States for, well, it was supposed to be permanent, but then all of a sudden it just went away after, I don't know, a few hours.
Whatever works.
Yeah, it was good. It was all good for you.
It didn't phase me any.
That's good. Good. Well, it's know that you're the Japanese how they started no, I won't say manipulating, but how they started selling some of the bonds, American bonds. That's what really instigated Trump this time to stop to reverse course once again. And you can see Richard does not care.
I'm here.
Okay. Well, I want to say I am feeling a little bit better about everything that's going on. The everything from the hands off protests, which I know. I don't know if you've seen any of the protests that were going on in the United States. Did you see any of that?
Sure. Lots of protests.
Well, it was an incredible amount of people. Some estimates say between 5 and 6 million people, which does track if you have about 1,000 towns and a few thousand people in each town. That does track. And I did see one shot of Fifth Avenue, which was flooded with people. And those New York streets can, on any good day, can handle a few thousand people. So you have to really get a lot of people in those streets to actually make a dent in it. And there was one guy that he was up on a skyscraper and he shot down one side of the of Fifth Avenue, people as far as you could see, and then he swung the camera around the other way and people as far as you could see.
Hmm.
So I know that protests are not. They were all peaceful protests. There was no, as far as I know, nothing nefarious happened. Some people were saying that they should have done more, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because you kind of got to do this stuff in steps. And some people are saying, well, this doesn't really make a difference. Doesn't make it's not a big deal, but I think it is. I think it's a way of galvanizing people to say that you're not alone, and um, actually getting out there and interacting with real people, not just online, because it seems like this whole thing is being lost online. But people actually got out there, and so I was impressed with America. I was impressed with those Americans that decided to do that. I mean, on a Saturday, get Americans out there to do something selfless, and something that it actually kind of meant something, that it means something to people, and they recognize what's going on out there. And ultimately, protests of this size do lead to things like in 2017 you had the women's march, and I don't know if like the 2018 Me Too movement would have happened without that. And then the George Floyd protests in 2020, that definitely changed the mindset of a lot of people. So those are good things. Made me feel better. And then in Canada here, our prime minister, our prime minister, who's in an election, seems to be doing very well, even though the polls are showing that the gap is closing between him and the conservatives. So the thing's not over yet. As you recall, when Kamala Harris took over for the Democrats, there was all this good buzz and everything, and we all know how that turned out in the end. So nothing's over yet, but it's good. Good to see. Good to see. Corporate media is just a complete joke. Can't watch them anymore. Everything from CNN to MSNBC, all of them just seem to be a joke. They keep asking Trump if he's going to relinquish command in 4 years. And I don't know why they even bother asking him. I don't even know why it's a question. Of course he's not. He didn't the last time. Why would he this time? But they keep asking him. And I'm just wondering, like, is it just for clicks? Is that the reasoning for it? Is it just so they could get, a soundbite of him saying something or whatever? Like, it's obvious that he's not. So, he's going to try to run again. He's going to find some weasel way to do it. So why are we even worried about that? And then this whole business where, he keeps putting these trade tariffs on and off, and everyone keeps saying it's the art of the deal. There's no such thing as the art of the deal. You ask anyone to explain to me what the art of the deal is. Nobody knows what it is. It's just something he made up, or his ghostwriter made up. The art of the deal. Anything he does, and it blows up in his face, he'd be like, it's the art of the deal. Like, he tanked the economy, tanked the stock market, brings it back up half, and they're applauding him like as if he did something great. The best analogy I've heard, it's like an arsonist who starts a fire and the house catches on fire, and then he grabs a hose and puts out the fire, and then he wants applause for only half burning down the house. What do you guys say about that, Richard?
Sure. Just sure.
Anyways, that's it.
That's all I got to say.
Well, that's all I have to say about it so far. I did, like I said, I talked about community and joining communities and stuff, and I did reach out to the gardening community here in my hometown of Chelmsford, Ontario. And I reached out to them a few days ago, and then I just heard back from them today. Sounds like it's a bit of a mess, the organization and all that. But it's all volunteers, right? So,
Is it a lot of older people?
I don't know if it's anybody. Really. There's one person that's running it. She says she has another person helping her. And she said things didn't turn out the way she wanted to last year. This year, they have a little bit of funding coming in from the city, the greater city of Sudbury. So she's hoping that things will go a little better. But she pretty much said I could do anything from starting to run things to running, what do they call it when people give instructions on how to do things? Those, not classes, but little like courses or whatever.
Tutorials or courses?
I guess so. But I don't know.
You would teach people how to grow tomatoes?
Yeah, I don't know how to. I'm there to learn. I really don't know how to do any of that stuff. Then they said they needed help recruiting people. So I might do some of that. I don't know.
So, have you actually seen this community garden?
Yeah. Yeah, I know where it is. Yeah.
Does it look like it's prospering? Are there things growing?
Well, from afar, it did. Right now, it's under snow. Right, we just had a big blast of snow. This week was very weird. We had a big blast of snow on Monday, and I was shoveling I would say the biggest dump of snow we got all year. And by Thursday, I'm outside barbecuing. It's just a really weird. It's been a very long winter. It's been a bit of a grind. It just keeps going and going. Right now, the snow is melting, though, so we'll see. It's kind of like Trump and his tariffs. It's on again, it's off again, it's on again, it's off again. But it's a seasonal thing, right? You were asking me like, how does the garden, like, what do you do in the winter time? I don't think you do anything. It's a seasonal thing.
You just wait.
I tried to sign up for, so the astronomy club in Sudbury, they meet up once a month, and they usually meet up around the 15th of every month. So yesterday, no, 2 days ago, it was the 9th. On the 9th, I went to go and check on their website to see when they got together this time, figuring it's going to be like the 14th or 15th, and they got together on the 8th. So I missed it by a day. So I'll try again next month. And then I made some steps, some progress towards getting some guitar lessons, which I've never really.
Guitar lessons? I thought you played the guitar.
I do, but I want to get better. I'm very good. I'm adequate at playing the power chords and the cowboy chords. A little bit of noodling. But I kind of want to get better, and the only way to get better, I think, is to start learning some music theory and how things work and how it gets put together. And there are a lot of online courses in that, but there's still nothing that beats having a person there listening to you play and getting direct feedback from that person. So yeah, that's how I'm branching out into the community and getting more involved with real people instead of just sitting online and getting angry online.
So you can be playing a guitar while looking through a telescope with tomatoes all around you.
I just do one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Although the tomatoes can grow while I'm doing the other two things. But
do you have to bring your own telescope?
Well, no. It's just a meeting that they have. We have this big science center in Sudbury called Science North. It's actually, there are two big buildings, and they're in the shape of a snowflake. They're big iron snowflakes. They're kind of cool. It's kind of cool architecture. And that's where they meet, and they just kind of talk about, as far as I know, they talk about their experiences, and then they get like guest speakers and whatnot, people who wrote books on astronomy and whatnot, and what to look out for and what dates to look out for things and that kind of thing. I'm sure there is some sort of measuring contest to see who has the biggest telescope and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
There is also an observatory in Sudbury. I don't know if I told you this, but just outside of Sudbury on Fairbanks Lake, back in the NORAD days, the NORAD built a observatory right in off just outside of Sudbury. And since technology has gotten better in satellite technology and all that, they've abandoned that observatory, and it was donated to this astronomy club of Sudbury. It was Science North who bought it, and then they donated it to the astronomy club. So there are certain times that if you're part of this club and you pay to join in, that you can actually get into the observatory and see things in space through a really big telescope.
Like the one in Howard the Duck.
Sure. I don't really remember the telescope in Howard the Duck, but if it's a big one,
there's an observatory. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it. That's my life in a nutshell over the past 2 weeks. 18 minutes to talk about. The rest of the show is yours, Richard. I'll just sit back and listen.
There you go. What happened to the music you bought? I saw you posting about albums and things.
Yeah, I bought some music. I don't know if you're interested in it though, so I never really bring that stuff around. I did. I mean, it's nothing you would know about. The Michael Schenker group. Are you interested in that?
No.
You're not interested in the Michael Schenker group? Actually, I do have a question for you. Oh, I forgot his name already. That's how bad it is. Hold on. Let me see if I can find his name. Oh, wait, let me look in the right search engine here. I do have some movies in that to talk about. I did watch a few movies, not a lot, and I did play a few video games. But let me ask you. Should have set this up ahead of time. So there's this guy.
Michael Schenker?
No, he's not Michael Schenker.
Did I forget his name already?
No, you got it right. You got it right.
right.
There's this guy. Okay, yeah, this is his name. Okay, have you heard of? And if you heard of this, I'm done. We're canceling the show. Have you heard of Nardwar?
Nardwar. Is that a name? A person?
Yeah,
What is that?
That's a person's name, Nardwar.
Nardwar. Is that a real name or is that an internet handle?
It is. He probably came up with this name. Well, I guess there was an internet, but in the very rudimentary stages.
So it's
It is
like a Madonna
stage
or
name,
Lady
a
Gaga.
stage name,
Yeah.
a stage name. Yeah.
Okay. No, I've never heard of.
Okay, good.
Nardwar.
All right.
Is that what
Nardwar. Yeah. Okay, good. The show's still on.
What's a Nardwar?
So, Sarah and I have been watching a lot of stuff on YouTube. Been getting our news from YouTube, and one of the things was I came up in my feed is that Mark Carney, the current Prime Minister of Canada, did an interview with this guy named Nardwar, and I started watching it. Sarah wasn't with me yet; she was like busy getting ready or whatever, and I thought, oh, I'll put that off to the side because it looks really funny, so I'll wait for Sarah. So by the time she came back, because I have ADHD, I already forgot about the video, and we started watching one of our other regular videos, and they were talking about the current Canadian election and how this Nardwar video is going to bring a lot of people over to Mark Carney's camp. And I'm like, that is so weird because I just got a thing from it. And then we watched another one of our videos. They mentioned the Nardwar video in that video too. I'm like, what is going on? So we finally watched this Nardwar video. And he's a guy, he used to be on Much Music, apparently, about 25 years ago. Much Music is Canada's version of MTV.
Okay.
And he was one of the hosts of a show that mostly focused on bands from the coast. I'm not sure if it's the East Coast or the West Coast. I think it's the West Coast because he's in Vancouver. And he started to get a name for himself because as he would interview these musicians, he would get very deep in their research. Like he can make anyone seem like as if they know a lot about music. He would be able, if he was to interview you, he would make you seem like you really knew what you're talking about with music. Because what he would do is he would find your musical interests. So he would somehow, through this show or whatever you put out there, he would find out that you're a Michael Jackson fan, or he would probably ask people, find out that you're a Michael Jackson fan and a Rob Zombie fan. And then he would conduct the interview and he would interject your interests in music. And he does this with all sorts of musicians. And apparently there is a tradition that he's done for the past 25 years where anytime there's been a Canadian election, he interviews the party leaders, the ones who are willing to do an interview with him. Now, for some reason, it's always the Liberal and New Democratic Party leaders who are always willing to do an interview with him. Conservative guys, Stephen Harper, actually, he was a conservative guy from a few years ago, actually had him hauled away when he came up because he is a very eccentric guy. He's not like sit down, suit and tie interview. He's playing a character that's kind of obnoxious, but also very funny and very informative. And yeah, he's got this whole bit. I had never heard of him until today. Mm-hmm. And I started asking people, I'm like, am I the only person that has never heard of this guy? And apparently I am. And I felt really out of touch and out of sorts. And but and Sarah had never heard of him either. And I'm like, are we the only two people? But I knew that at the very least, I would have beaten Richard to the punch. I would have gotten there before Richard because I said I'll ask Richard today if he has ever heard of Nardwuar, and if he's heard of him, that's it.
No, but it looked
But-
like he did interview Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, he's done a lot of videos with Snoop Dogg. I haven't watched them. I've only watched the one he did with Mark Carney and the one he did with Jagmeet Singh, the guy who's running for the New Democrat Party. But yeah, he does all sorts of. He's been around for a long time. I guess he kind of got a resurgence on YouTube. He's been doing it forever. He's got millions of viewers, millions of subscribers. I'd never heard of him.
Yeah, he wears a lot of plaid. Seems like he's
That's a Canadian thing, and he has a lot of vinyl records.
the Canadian thing.
But yeah, he'll find like for instance, like when he had Mark Carney on, he knew that Mark Carney his image was on an old 45 record from like the early 80s when he was a kid playing hockey. He got that, and when he was talking to Jagmeet Singh, he got a bunch of 45s from or records from a label that's in his district, and he knew like all the Jagmeet knew all the artists and everything. So he finds ways to find out what your interests in music are, and then he finds a way to basically connect you, and then he's connecting with you with the viewers as well, because if your interest is in music, you'll be like, well, what's this? And you might discover something new and all that. And yeah, it's a really, really clever way of doing it. Nardwuar Serviette. His last name is Serviette. Do you know what a serviette is, Richard? That should have been on the Canadian.
Is that more Canadian lingo?
Well, I'll never forget the time we went to Wendy's and my Nona was asking for a serviette. We went to Wendy's in the States. We went to Michigan, and she's asking for a serviette. And the person behind the counter just like, what are you talking about? It is a napkin. What Americans would call a napkin. Yeah, but we call them serviettes.
Serviette.
Yeah.
Serviette. A table napkin. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That's some British English right there.
Well, a lot of our lingo is derived from Britain because we were a British colony for a very long time. And we stick to the proper pronunciation and wordature. Anyways.
Huh. That's interesting.
There you go. Serviette. I should have had that one on my list. I'm surprised it wasn't. So there you go.
This Nardwuar guy. Well, yeah, I hope his stuff is as entertaining as you say, because from the thumbnails, he does the obnoxious YouTuber thing where he's constantly making funny faces and stuff. But
I think
he has the personality to. Yeah, I know.
I think everybody has to do that. They have to do that now. I could see how some people would find him obnoxious, but I don't know. I found him very entertaining, and he was very informative, and I thought he was very good at what he did. I only watched 2 videos. Just look at this. This video he did with Mark Carney is number 2 on trending. I don't know if that's all of YouTube or just in Canada.
Well, it was the first one that came up when I looked him up. But I don't know if it's the most recent either.
Trending. So number 1 is Kendrick Lamar and SZA Luther. That just went up 5 hours ago. And then number 2 is Nardwuar. Nardwuar, you got yourself a new fan today. The only Canadian who's never heard of 2 new fans. I say Sarah enjoyed your video as well. So there you go. Just in case he's watching this.
Sure.
He'd be the only one, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's posts coming in all the time.
Okay. Well,
see, somebody just signed in.
Oh,
Said,
look at
hey
that.
guys, look at that.
Made a comment. Oh, let me put it on the screen. There you go.
There you go.
This Ramvox guy. He doesn't even have an image. He's just a big R.
Am I supposed to do that?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
How do you put images in this thing?
I don't know.
I guess like anything else.
There you go. That's it. What else? What else you want? I got some movies and I got some video games.
Oh god.
Richard's waking up.
I'm still waking up. I could talk about movies. I could talk about TV. I could talk about video games. I could talk about back problems. I got a
Oh,
whole bunch of things.
well, I do have a couple of TV shows as well. Come to think of it,
Oh, but yeah, I can't talk about my TV show yet.
why not?
I could just say TV show because I've decided to watch more television this year, but I don't want anyone to spoil things for me.
Oh,
So I don't know if I'm gonna talk about the TV show I'm watching in
uh,
case somebody just runs up with a comment and says,
yeah,
"Oh, I know that, blah blah blah." Wait, I didn't get there yet.
yeah. I tell you,
So
there is so like for me, I've been sticking to this mantra of not watching a TV series until it is over because I can't
mhm.
remember anything. But I am finding that I like there are so many references to the show Substance and White Lotus, and they're all going over my head. I don't know what anyone's talking about. I am feeling a little bit lost. That might be due to the shows that I'm watching. Maybe I should just stop watching TV altogether. That'd solve that problem,
Are,
wouldn't it?
are you watching more 70s and 80s sitcoms?
No. No, we're still working plugging away on the Twilight Zone. We're still
Mhm.
on season 3. But we
Oh
have
boy,
been
you gotta
but we have been watching Saturday Night Live again. I kind of dip in and out of that show.
like
Uh
current Saturday Night Live
yeah,
or going
it
back?
nope, current Saturday Night Live. It's kind of I'm enjoying this current cast. I start so Bill Burr was a host before Christmas around sometime. And so I'd like watch it once in a while when it was convenient, but lately, yeah, they've been getting really good. The guy that they got to do Trump is really good. Like I kind of lost like I Sarah and I were watching it when like I don't know about 10, 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago now. I don't know when Kristen Wiig and Jason Sudeikis and Will Forte, like that crew was on, and we were enjoying it then. But then it kind of got stupid again, and they would like when Trump was president the first time around, they'd get Alec Baldwin and Tina Fey and all these like people who had nothing to do with the show. Like they weren't the cast, they were just all coming in to do like these special
Like guest
appearances,
performers,
guest
yeah.
performers, and it was every week. And it's like, this is kind of like I want like let's see what the cast can do.
Mhm.
So and I don't know, wasn't it I didn't find it very funny. And now they do have Mike Myers coming on as Elon Musk, which is fine because he just comes on for a few seconds. That's pretty much it. That's all you see of him. But they have like a cast again, that's actually doing skits in that. And so I don't know. We've been watching I don't know, since around Christmas time, we've been watching it, and it's been pretty funny. So I'll give a shout out to SNL, and then just been watching the Daily Show. Daily Show's been great with or without Jon Stewart, and that's pretty much it. And then just trying to keep up with Twilight Zone.
Mhm.
So you don't want to talk about any of your TV shows?
Well, well, I am doing what you just said. It is a TV show that is older. It is finished. There are 4 seasons, and I'm 2 episodes away from the end of season 1. So I'm being protective.
I think I know what
Uh,
show. I'll ask, is it a half-hour show?
it is not.
Oh, okay. Then I don't know what show it is.
Okay. But yeah, it's tricky because I think last time I mentioned I picked up the Next Generation Blu-ray
Yeah.
set, and I don't have it with me, but I found a really, really, really cheap deal. Somebody was getting rid of the Monk TV series,
Okay.
which I've never seen, maybe a few clips here and there, but I do like Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
So I ended up picking up that. Um, so I've got a lot of television that just suddenly fell into my lap, but I don't know whether I'm going to go fulfill one series and then start another, or go one season and then do a season of something else. I may have taken on a bit too much, because actually I've got another TV series here, which thankfully is shorter. I just got a copy of The Office,
Nice. I have
which
that box set.
I have never seen,
Oh,
except for I think I've seen the pilot episode in its entirety on an airplane during an international flight when I was half asleep. So yeah, for somehow I have never sat down to watch this.
I think there's only 12 episodes total. So
It's yeah, what do they call them? Two
series.
series, two
Yeah.
series and two specials.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
So,
so the final special, they only did it. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying that they
mhm,
only did it because when they finished the series, there was a few storylines that they didn't wrap up, and
mhm.
Ricky Gervais and Steve Merchant just thought nobody would care about the storyline. Like they were just like, "Oh, nobody cares about this. It's over," and they got so much mail or whatever at the BBC would complain like, "When's this coming back to finish this stuff up?" So they had to come back
Mm.
and wrap it up. And when you see it, yeah, you'll know. Anyways, that's a
Okay.
great series. It's funny
Well, it
because
worked out.
I just got a video of Steve Merchant Merchant Steve Merchant. Should stop calling him Merchant Merchant because he was on a podcast with the guys who did Little Britain. I guess they have their own show, their own pod. Everybody's got a podcast now, but he was on there and he was talking about his first time on when they won the Emmy Awards and that, and when they were walking down to the stage to get their award, they could see that Clint Eastwood was in the audience, and they saw him turn to the person beside him and said, "Who the fuck are those two guys?" Anyways, that's a great show.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard only good things, and it spawned how many countless Office reimaginings in different countries all over the world. So
Yep. Yeah. I hear
it
the
did well for them.
Australian one is pretty awful.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I know about the the Steve Carell one, but I remember just seeing specials like there was one in like India or like all over the place. They just had their own version of The Office. I don't know how long any of them lasted.
Is there a
Uh,
Japanese office?
not that I know of,
Yeah,
but
that'd be too.
a little Wikipedia could solve that.
I don't think there would be because everyone's too they're on their best behavior at the office in Japan. So there's no putting
That's pretty true. It'd have to be pretty out there.
like so like in the office there's like the a clown. Well, the guy who's going to play pranks on everyone, and he puts somebody's stapler in a Jello mold, right? I can't see
Right.
that flying in Japan. Someone would look at that and say, "Why is that idiot doing that?"
We probably wouldn't know what Jello was.
or not know what Jello is.
Popular here.
Yeah,
Yeah. It is bizarre though because as straight and strict and the way regular offices are, you've seen some of that anime. It's like
yeah,
it's night and day with the entertainment around here.
yeah. Wow.
I don't know. So I am almost done with my mystery TV series season one, and then I've been trying to balance it out where I finish one disc and then I'll watch a movie or do something else. And then I'll
Mm,
I'll go back and finish one more disc and then do it that way. So at least I'm not overloaded.
mm.
And then I'm also well, I guess this is kind of like a TV series. I am still going through the AVGN. I just finished season 10, which I got to say I was worried like when the, quality drop off is going to happen. Season 10 was fantastic. There
Hmm.
were only about maybe 3 or 4 episodes, but they were all great. Some of those really big, high production episodes. But then it ended with some weird, I guess they were other like short films he was doing. So it had nothing to do with the character, just other weird things he was doing.
What was in season 10? Can you give me like what games he covered in season 10?
Well, season 10, uh, Paperboy. was season
Okay.
10.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I there was a big like 10-year thing he did with Mega Man, and it involved time travel.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
So you watched quite a bit more than I did.
I mean, I so there was a point where like religiously every time there was a new episode out, you'd watch it. And then there's other,
Hmm.
like it would come up on my feed and I might watch it. So like I
Okay.
might have seen them. Like even the other day, one came out or one came up on my feed and I watched it. I can't even remember what the heck it was. I don't even know if I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like I just kind of
Oh,
dropped off cold turkey at some point.
yeah. So I watched just came up on my feed randomly, Sim City for the Super Nintendo, which I don't know what season that is or anything. He just
Hmm.
released that like 9 months ago, episode
Okay.
216. It was fine. I guess I watched the whole thing, but it just goes to show you how memorable it was. It's kind of funny because that video came up on my feed. I watched it, and then of course other stuff comes up on my feed, and I start getting lazy game reviews. Have you ever seen that
Hmm.
guy? Yeah. Uh, so when I played SimCity, I played SimCity on the PC, right? Not on the. I never played the Super Nintendo version, so that's the one that
Hmm.
speaks more to me. So Lazy Game Reviews came out with like, and I was like, oh, this is the game that I used to play, and I watched that. So then I went. I'm like, I can't even remember if I have that game. I did download something called. I think I wrote it down a few days ago or a few episodes ago. I forgot to talk about it. I downloaded a thing that basically it was like every DOS box game or every DOS game. I really should prepare more for these shows, right? Let's see, Hundreds of Beavers. That's how far back my notes go here. Billy Wilder,
Okay, that one I
Duo
remember.
Tang, Duo Tang. Do you know what? Do you remember? Yeah, I got an X. You didn't get Duo Tang.
Duo Tang. Oh gosh, what was the Duo Tang? Was that the binder,
That's
like
right.
your
Yeah,
your folder?
yeah. Chesterfield. Do you remember what the Chesterfield
That's a
is?
couch.
Yeah. Look at you.
I got it.
Oh, I wrote it down here somewhere. I don't see it. Anyways, I downloaded it. Anyways, it was in there, so I started playing. I actually started playing SimCity because I watched
Hmm.
that. It led me to SimCity, and then I went on GOG, and it turns out I had SimCity 2000 on GOG, which was like the sequel that came out in 1995. I started
Okay.
playing a little bit of that, and then I remembered why that game pissed me off because you get so far in that game that your streets kind of get flooded with like traffic. So one way to combat it is to build a subway. And the
Hmm.
subway, for me, anyways, the subway's always been wonky in that game. It never really worked out, so I stopped playing that. Then I fired up Cities Skylines. I had that on.
Cities Skyline. Is that like another sim game?
Yeah, another. So it came out, I think, in 2015 ish, about 10 years ago. It's an indie game, but it's like SimCity with my more modern graphics, and it was on. I got it for free on Epic, so I started messing
Hmm.
around with that.
That means I
So
probably have it too.
yeah, so I got a city of 5,500 right now in that game. Messing around with that.
I don't think I've ever seriously tried to play one of those sim games. When I was in high school, we had a some sort of computer programming class, and the teacher really, you could tell he was not enthusiastic. He didn't want to teach that class. So halfway through, he just let us start playing Sim City, and that was all we did for the second half of the semester. And I just remember, okay, yeah, you decide to build something here, build something there, and then like a Godzilla monster comes out and destroys your city.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, I have no idea what I'm doing with this. And I over the years, I think I tried playing one or two once, but I I could never bring myself to learn the game properly.
yeah, it's not. So they're not for everyone. They're time management games basically.
Yeah. Mhm.
And you gotta. I don't know. I love it. I love like building a city and figuring things out. Like right now, like the puzzle is I got the city. It's so in the city skyline, you basically start a town off of an off ramp, right, from a highway. So the people are coming in off of a highway into your town.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a river over here, and then there's like industrial, like industrial zones that you can build, so you can have places for people to work, and then commercial zones for people with a little more education that can work, and then residential zones for places for people to live. And you kind of need to balance all of these things. So right now, like I went online before I started getting too much into it. That's the other thing too, is like before you used to have to learn all this stuff, like just start playing the game, figure it out. But now you can go online, there's a YouTube video of a guy who's going to show you, you know, what to get you started, right, to get you like into it. You can get further into it and go into all the deep strategy and all that, but you know, I'm just looking for something to. So one of the things he recommended was like, don't put your industrial zone too far into the city, because the industrial zone attracts big trucks, and those big trucks are going to be going through your city, and you're going to have to set up all this infrastructure. So I set my industrial zone right off to the side, right where the entrance ramp is, which is working well. It's keeping the trucks out from going into the city, but it's also blocking the way to the waterfront, which is where all the rich land value is. And the more residential stuff you can build with land value, the more taxes you can charge, so the more money you can make, so you can start building more things, right? And so now I have to figure out how to get the residential zones around the industrial zones, because you don't want to build residential zones too close to industrial zones, because industrial zones have a lot of noise, they have a lot of pollution, and that brings down the land value of any sort of residential home. So the idea is to put some commercial zones, you know, as a buffer kind of thing, because commercial zones are not going to complain too much about construction and whatnot. So it's like a puzzle that's continuously evolving and changing, and you're trying to figure out how to do things. And you can pause, you just pause and try to figure it out, and then you let the game run, and it'll catch up. Like basically, you got a budget and everything to kind of figure things out. So this is all in the DNA of Sin City, right? Like the original Sin City game that came out in 1989. And I love that stuff. Like those were my top two games, was the original Sim City and Railroad Tycoon. Sid Meier's Railroad Tycoon. I just love that stuff. Love figuring it out, figuring out how to make money in these games, basically. So you can just continue to build more things and get to the next level. You know, like I need to build, like the people are sick in my town, I need to build like a medical center. So you're trying to figure out ways to bring in money to, so you can build that medical center, right? Like, and even in City Skyline, they have ways that you can adjust the budget for things. So like in the original SimCity games, for instance, if you needed more power, you just build another power plant, right? And then the type of power plant you build kind of goes into the strategy, right? Like if you build a hydroelectric dam, they don't generate a lot of power, but they don't give off too much pollution. Coal plant, you get some power, but you get a lot of pollution. Then you could build a nuclear facility, no pollution, but your residents might not like living close to, you know, the potential disaster that can happen. So, because there's earthquakes in the game and all that stuff, and if that blows up, you're kind of screwed. So there's all kinds of sort of different strategies and everything. So in this game, you can actually, instead of actually having to build, like if your power is low, instead of having to build, you can actually adjust the budget for the power plant and make it more efficient. So the more money you give it, the more efficient it becomes, and it generates more power. So you can kind of go in there and tweak things a little bit. Like, so for instance, when I needed to build that medical center, because the power plant was generating at 100%, it was generating more electricity than what I needed. I can go in and I can adjust it, bring it down to like 80%, and that saved me some money. And as I was able to build money to build the medical center faster. So I don't know. I just love that stuff.
It sounds very like I get it. Like if you can set your brain to that sort of like this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I guess for me, like because I was accustomed to, I put on a game. I got Pac-Man. I got Defender. Like there's kind of like a specific target. You're very straight out. Like okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna jump over the mushrooms and slide down the pole. All of these more expansive games, they just cause so much anxiety in me, and I
Yeah.
get overwhelmed by them.
Well,
Speaking of
that's
which,
I was just gonna say
no, go ahead.
the beauty of those kind of games is you hit the space bar, it pauses everything, you stop everything, and then you take a breath, and then you kind of figure out where to make your next move. So things are constantly moving. So if there's something wrong, you just pause and figure
Mhm.
out a solution, and then carry on.
Yeah, it's like certain games. You ever do that where you put on a game or even just see the trailer of a game and the idea of playing it just makes you feel like anxious?
Oh,
Like
any
I
platformer.
no,
I
okay.
can't. I Platformers make me anxious. My hands start to sweat when I start playing a platformer. My heart starts
Yeah.
racing.
For some reason when I have nothing against nonlinear gameplay and open world and all that, but whenever I get into a game like that, it just feels like there's too much to do. And I part of my brain is like I'm not going to be able to see everything and do everything. And it's not that I try to complete games like 100%. I don't care if I miss an item here or there, whatever. It's just sometimes I have no idea like where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do, and it causes anxiety in my head, and I feel almost intimidated to play the game,
Yeah, well,
which is what happened to me as I was playing the Tomb Raider games, which I think I mentioned a while ago. I was playing Tomb Raider Legend,
yep,
the the Crystal Dynamics ones.
yep,
So I finished Legend, I finished Anniversary, and I finished Underworld.
yeah,
And the entire time I was just like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. You walk into one room and then suddenly there's this huge
yep,
puzzle. I was
yeah.
like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And there would be ones where you, okay, I can go through that door or I could go through that door. And then I go through one of them and then suddenly realize I can't turn around. And they're like, oh no, did I miss something? Is this the way it's designed? Am I going to come back out, and be able to access that other thing? Because I don't care if I miss something by choice, but if I miss something knowing like, oh, I should have done that, makes me want to go back and reset the game,
Those are my
which I
favorite
didn't.
parts. Those are my favorite parts of the game. When you go
Oh,
into a big room and you know you got to get up to that ledge somehow, and you don't know how you get up there, so you got to figure it out. But that's what I loved about that era of Tomb Raider games.
oh, they were great. They were fun. In fact, I'd say Anniversary might be like one of the. I mean, might be my favorite. I know Underworld made a lot of improvements in terms of the platforming. They gave her a lot of different things she could do that made more sense. Like, hey,
Hmm.
now I can get up here this way. It was like rock climbing and a couple of other little things they added. But Anniversary, I was so stumped at different parts of that game where I would be in a puzzle and I just would not know how to proceed. Or I wouldn't know how to get from this one place to that place over there. And I was so tempted to check a walkthrough and just get a little hint, but I didn't. I forced myself to figure it out. And I felt so rewarded after I would get through a puzzle. But it's still the entire time I was as much as I was enjoying it, I was feeling that sense of like, oh, this is too much. I don't want to do this anymore. But fun stuff. Anniversary was really long too. It seemed
Was
like it
it?
was twice the length of the other games.
It's kind of a quasi remake of the first game, right? Like a reboot.
That's what I heard. I
Yeah,
don't really remember the first game because I didn't get too far in it. But yeah, because Legend starts a new story about like King Arthur and this other person that Laura was traveling with. And
right.
then Anniversary goes back. It's like a prequel and
Mhm.
it has a completely different story. And then Underworld continues after the first one, but
Right.
also integrates certain things from the prequel. So it felt a little messy in terms of them putting out a trilogy. I don't know if they were forced to go back and do the anniversary one.
Probably.
I don't know, but it was good stuff.
Cool.
Hmm.
Well, there's different games for everybody. Like I know that Sauce hates strategy games as well. Find like a game like SimCity boring.
Hmm.
But there's different games for everybody.
Sure.
Yeah.
And one of the side effects of watching all these AVGN things is it really makes you want to go back and play some older games.
Okay.
So so I brought up some NES emulation, of course. I was going off
Ooh.
uh, the my modded Wii and the Retro Pi and stuff. And I
Yep.
was trying to find like a game, like what's a game I've never played, and I started playing Castlevania, the
I
original
love that game.
Castlevania.
That's my
It's
favorite NES game.
it's really good, and boy, is it frustrating because it's you gotta get that muscle memory in just the right spots to get through all those levels.
You got to
So
play
I've
by the
been
game's rules. You can't go running like
yeah,
it's Super Mario.
no, and Belmont, he drops like a rock when you miss a jump.
Yeah.
Boy, he goes straight down.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
That game, like I never had it as a kid. I don't think I
Me neither.
knew anyone who had it. So I finally got a copy when I was in my early 20s, and even then I wasn't so interested in playing. Um, so I just kind of had it, and then all these years of, retro collecting and playing and stuff, I never gave it a serious shot. I'd get through like the first level, you die, and then it's like, all right, let me try something else because I got 100 games here. So this is the first time I'm actually plugging through it. So I stand right now where the first level, no problem, get through that easily.
Yeah.
Second level, there's a couple of jumps where the Medusa heads are and stuff, and it's like, all right, I might have a little trial and error there. I get past that, boss is no problem. Third level, I can get through pretty easily as long as you get to. I finally figured out exactly where I want to stand when you fight the boss, and gives me the best
You can
chance.
cheese them. Yeah.
Okay, I get through there. Fourth level is where it really starts to get aggravating. There's a lot of jumps over water and those fish people jumping up and everything.
Yeah.
And then there's this long stretch where birds are dropping those little hunchback guys. And you can get through that, but then you get to these like skeletal snake, the ones that shoot fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And boy, if you don't get in the right spot, you
Yeah.
know, you've basically faced two of them right before getting to the end boss, and you might go into the end boss with very little health. And that just seems very hit or miss because I can get to the boss pretty easily. Just continue, continue. You got endless continues in that game. But then it seems like the pattern isn't the same every time. It's like, if you get in the right spot, you get lucky, you can beat them. But then other times it's just, you die, you die, you die over and over again. So I've been able to make it to level 5, pretty close to the end. I haven't reached the boss yet. It's where those like red skeletons come up and they fall and they come back, they fall, they come back. And
Yeah.
there's these knights that throw the axes that boomerang around.
Mm-hmm.
So I got pretty close to the end because every level is 3 stages.
Sure.
There's
Yep.
like so I know I've gotten to the third stage, but that's usually I've been playing for about 45 minutes, an hour, and then it's like, all right, I got to stop for today and
Do
get back
you
to the beginning.
do you save? Do you use any save states like
N-
or do you just
No,
fire
I
like
just start
start
at the
right at the beginning?
beginning because I like the idea of, obviously if I want to beat it, I'm sure I can do a save state, or I don't know if there are codes or anything to get you starting on a certain level. I just want to know I can like straight through. I'm not trying to do any no death runs or anything like that, but at least start from the beginning and just plug my way through.
Well, if you die while you're playing the game, it'll like if you run out of lives, it'll start you at the beginning of that level.
Yeah.
And
So
if I remember correctly, at the end, like if you die while like run out of lives fighting Dracula, it starts you right at Dracula, so it's not too bad. But you can give yourself. What I'm saying is, you can give yourself a save state at those points because it would be similar to just leaving your Super or your Nintendo on.
I don't mind. I don't mind getting that muscle memory so I can just go through,
Sure.
because as as tedious as it can be to go back to the beginning every time, the game is very short. If you know
Yeah.
what you're doing, you can
Yeah.
get through it pretty quickly. So,
And
you
the
know, the
Japanese
first, second
version,
level.
the Japanese version of that game, it did have saves on it because I believe it was a disc game.
Oh
The
yeah, yeah,
Famicom
yeah.
had disc, and so you
That's
could
right. That's
save
right. Mhm.
at those levels.
No, I don't mind. I'm enjoying it enough that I can just sit there and try to figure out like what's the best way to get through each level. And sometimes it's knowing, okay, I need to get this sub weapon at this point, and I have to, you know, duck and meander around the Medusa heads to get by them
Hmm.
more easily. And it feels like the patterns are inconsistent, because there will be things that I do and I'm like, okay, I got this, and then suddenly a Medusa head comes in from a different angle, you know.
Yeah,
Or the item drops can be a bit random. There are certain ones that you know you're going to get a certain weapon
yeah.
from a candle,
Hmm.
but then other times you get those bats that'll randomly drop an axe or something.
Right.
So, you know, you never know what's going to affect your run through.
Good times. I like that game.
That is fun.
So, just because you mentioned the NES, I also wanted to give a shout out to. You might have heard this of these people. It's called the Cartridge Club, and they did a video this month. It was hosted by Curtis, and their March Madness video was
Hmm.
the NES, all about the
The
NES.
the 40
Uh,
years.
so yeah, I tuned in for a little bit while it was live streaming. It was interesting. Everybody on there was a panel of 4 or 5, and they all did some sort of different variation of their top 5. So some were top 5 underrated games. Well, Curtis's was top. It was it was a very weird episode in a way because at the end of it, I think I would just watch the last half, and within that last half, uh, Back to the Future got a lot of praise for being a great game, and Mario 3 kind of got dumped on. It's kind of weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I
Back
will.
to the Future has enjoyed more of a cult status these days. A lot
I
of
Yeah,
people like to
yeah,
praise it, and you describe it as a shooter. And
yeah.
uh,
I do have a little bit of criticism like that. Look, it was a great episode. It did what it was supposed to do. It got people talking about the NES, got people thinking about the NES in different ways. But I gotta say, they should have had somebody there. I think a little bit older that was there while the NES was a thing, because a lot of the perception, like, if you're gonna judge an NES game, I think it needs to be judged with contemporary games. You can't go to the Super Nintendo and say, "Well, Metroid sucks because Super Metroid is better." That to me is kind of like you're grading it against something that came out five whole 5 years later at a time when technology was in video games was moving much more quickly and much more advanced. And Super Nintendo had saves and all that stuff on the depending on which game you had and all that, better graphics and all that. So if you're gonna judge an NES game, I think it needs to be judged against other NES games or games of that era. You know, something on the Sega Master System or I don't know, Atari 7800 or whatever. There were some games there that kind of like there to say that Super Mario 3 is overrated is a little like it was like a tentpole game. It was like a game that uh not only technology wise, it pushed the NES to what it could do, but it was also the game that spawned a lot of ideas. into other games. Games were like, a lot of Super Mario 1 clones. And then when Super Mario 3 came out, it was kind of like, oh, this is the way you do it. You do it, you lay it out. And yes, it has been done better since. Super Mario World is a better game than Super Mario Brothers 3. But you can't judge them against each other. That's just not, I don't think that's very fair.
I always like Super Mario 2 best.
Yeah, the Super Mario 2 has its fans. I'm not one of them. I like 1 and I like 3. 2 is I don't know. I never really got into it.
I don't know.
Not to say it's a
Three
bad
three
game,
is
but
the one. I think 3 I would have enjoyed more if I had it. I didn't have a copy as a kid. I had to go to my cousin's house to play it, and I
yeah.
played it a lot. And I got to the end level, but I've never beaten it. And in all these years, I just haven't really put a lot of enthusiasm into going back to it. But I overrated. Yeah, I haven't listened to the episode, so I don't want to misquote anything. But it's a good game. It's a
I
really
mean,
good game.
the for me, the reasonings that I heard for such a game for it being overrated, that it wasn't as good as Super Nintendo games, which I don't think that's really fair. But it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. It's good times.
How many games were there on the NES? Is it like what's the
That's a
count?
that's a
The
Chris
collector?
Roberts. I think it's around
Yeah,
900. I don't know.
is that many, right? Like
I think
900 and
so.
something. The
Yeah, eight
officially
or 900.
licensed, whatever.
Yeah, I really don't know. There was a lot, and I remember so I didn't have an NES either, but games were expensive, and here's the
Oh
other thing,
yeah.
that was kind of, I think, missed a little bit in that episode, was that a lot of the games that they said were like, they were rentals. They were rental games. You would go and you would rent them, and you play them for a night, and that'd be it, right? It just like something like Back to the Future. That was a rental game. You'd rent it, you'd play it for a night, and then you bring it back to the rental store and you never play it again. Super Mario 3, that was like, you take that home. You go buy that, you take that home, and you play it over and over again. I think that's the big difference between, like, now, like, you emulate everything. You got every game in the catalog or whatever. You're a super collector. You got everything. Oh, Sauce, you missed our talk about your NES episode. You have to rewind about 5 minutes. But
I honestly have no problem with Back to the Future, except that I can't get past the ice cream throw-in stage. I can never do it.
ice
If I could get the one, not ice, root beer
heart.
floats or whatever you throw with the
Didn't you throw
bullies
hearts?
at the
It's been a
cafe.
long.
I've never gotten to that part.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think I ever finished the game. I remember getting to the car and there was lightning everywhere and it seemed all random, and I never. Yeah. So it was Curtis's episode. I did mention that. But I meant your cartridge club, the cartridge club that you own now. But anyways, yeah. There you go. Go check out that episode. All right. Were you done? I didn't mean to railroad your.
No, Tomb Raider, Castlevania. That's about it. I did mess around with Contra a little bit because I wasn't sure what game I wanted to get into.
Yeah.
And then of course Chris Roberts shows off with his no death run videos, posting those everywhere. I'm like, all right,
Sure.
forget that.
Yeah.
Let me try something I have a chance at.
Well, for me, it's also like this. Do you remember? You remember a few years ago when the God of War reboot came out, and I did a whole rant on how much I hated that game, and it won Game of the Year.
This the one with him and him and a kid.
Yeah. They got to go up to a mountain.
I've only played a little bit of the original God of War, maybe like 1 and 2, but I don't think I finished them or anything.
Well, let me rewind a bit. So, I finished. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I started playing the Jax and Daxter games.
Okay.
And I played Jax 2. And I'm playing Jax 2.
Boogaloo?
It's freaking hard, man. This game is like insanely like the save points or checkpoints on the level. Like you die in a level, it sends you all the way back to the beginning, and you're doing all this platforming and thing, and the Jax doesn't have much health and all this stuff. It's really difficult. And I'm like, I remember playing the first game and it not being that difficult, but the second one, it's I'm thinking I'm slipping. And then I see on get good. I see on a many. I did beat the game. I got the platinum in it, so I got good. But I see on many that's or hardest games on the PS2 or all that. Jax 2 is like one of the ones that has either the toughest game or the games with the most toughest difficulty spikes. So I didn't feel so bad. And apparently the third game is better. But as I was playing that game and getting the platinum in it and all that, one of the games that kind of stuck in my craw, it's always like it's on my trophy list in the PlayStation 3 is is God of War 3. I remember I was playing that game when it came out, and I was loving it. And I was actually writing at the time for a website, a video game website, and I had to get to the end of the game to finish my review. And I was playing it on the highest difficulty, and I got so far. I think I got almost up to Zeus or close to him, and I had to stop. I had to scale the difficulty down to easy so I could see what happened in the game, so I could finish my review. And I've never gone back and got the platinum in that game. So I was going to do that, but then I'm like, well, I haven't played it in a while, and to play the game on the highest difficulty and start like almost towards the end in that. So I do have the remaster of the game on the PlayStation 4. So I'm like, okay, this will be a good way to like get back into the game and play it on that. And then after that, if I finish it on the PlayStation 4, should be able to easily go back and finish it on PlayStation 3. And as I fire up the PlayStation 4 for the first time in forever, I see that the old God of War 2018 is still there, and I'm like, I haven't got to that. I haven't finished that game either. So I've been good with the video games. I haven't been buying video games. I've been just trying to like finish stuff on the backlog. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back into this 2018 game, and I'm gonna try to get through this game. Try to finish it, and if I don't like it, I'm just gonna delete it off the PS4. So I start playing it again, and relearn all the mechanics and all that stuff, and it was fairly easy to get into. And I guess I was right at the point in the game where this is a minor spoiler for the God of War games. But in God of War, in this game, you have an axe, and you throw around the axe, right? And that's how you do all your fighting with the axe. Well, I was right at the point where he gets the blades of chaos, the things that go around his arms, which
the chain thing.
Yeah. And that improved the game greatly. That improved a lot of the action in the game, because I found the axe was basically cheating, because you could throw the axe at enemies and you could just call it back, and you could just sit back and you could cheese bosses and that. You can just sit there and throw the axe. It'll take you forever, because it doesn't take a lot of health off depending on the enemy. But you can just cheese the game. So stick it to the blades of chaos that only gives you a limited range. Kind of, I don't know, improve the game a little bit. I still have problems with the game though. Like as I was playing it, the whole thing seems like a tech demo for the PlayStation 4, because it's all like how great, how the graphics look. The graphics are fantastic, but like every, I don't know, 20 feet that you're walking, you're going through like a small area. It's an open world game, but you get squeezed through a small area, so the system could load up the next area. Which the Tomb Raider reboot got raked over the coals when it did it, like in 2013. And then by the time 2018 and God of War does it, it's like fantastic or whatever. But anyways, I digress. So the entire time I'm playing the game, it's an open world game, and the game keeps like encouraging you to like get off the beaten path. Don't just stick to the main story. Why don't we go and explore? So I'm like, okay, I'll go and explore. And every time I would go and explore, you get these canoes and you go with your son around and try to find things and all that. Every time I did, I would run into like these enemies that were more powerful than Kratos was, right? So I'd get my ass kicked, and I would just like, well, I'll just stick to the main story. And then like there was all these fast travel points that I was unlocking throughout the game, but like I'd find them, but they were locked. I couldn't use them. So I, eventually I went online. I'm like, what's going on with these travel points? Because I'd like to like just go and explore these areas. They're like, oh, you got to keep playing the game, and eventually they unlock. So I keep playing the game. I'm like, they're not unlocking yet. And anytime I go out and explore, I get my ass kicked, and it's just a waste of time. So eventually I get to the point where they all unlock, and I can go to different places. But at that point, you're like you're so close to finishing the game, you might as well just stick to the main story. I actually kind of just ran into the end of the game. Like there's this guy that you're kind of fighting throughout the whole game that shows up once in a while. And I was in this cut scene, and all of a sudden the guy shows up, and I'm like, oh, I guess, is this the end of the game? And sure enough, it was. So after I played the main story, then I could finally start doing some exploring and all that after it opened up. And it kind of like, I like when I play those kind of games, I like to do all like the side quests and all the side stuff in that. So you get the better equipment in that. So it's easier to do the main campaign, even though the main campaign wasn't very hard. Once I finish a main campaign in a game, generally, like the other stuff kind of, I don't know, just I lose my momentum to do all that stuff. So I don't know. It for game of the year, it's an okay game. It's like a 7 out of 10. I think I said that back then too. It's like a 7 out of 10 game. But like when I look back in 2018, it was kind of a weak year for video games, 2018, but there were still some good ones. Like Marvel Spider-Man, I would say it was better than God of War. And I know that these couple of Xbox games that nobody cares about, but Forza Horizon 4 was a fantastic entry into the series. And State of Decay 2. Those are both great Xbox games that came out that I feel that were better than God of War. But the biggest one, the other game that came out in 2018 was Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a fantastic open world game. That game is brilliant. Like, you're going around. Yeah, I know, Sauce. No one cares about those, even though they're better games than God of War, in my opinion. But Red Dead Redemption 2, it's like you go and explore in that, and it's like a living, breathing world. Like you'll go into a town, and the townspeople, they're doing their own thing. They don't even care about you. And it just kind of gives like this feeling like there's something happening. You walk around in God of War, there's nobody. It's just enemies. There's nothing happening in that world. I don't know how that game got so much praise other than the fact that it was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. And for some reason, exclusives just kind of get overrated. They kind of get hyped up, I think, because they want you to go out and buy consoles or something.
Like Super Mario 3.
Yeah, pretty much like Super Mario 3, sure. Well, I am talking about God of War 3, and I'm putting it against its contemporary. I'm not putting it against a game that came out today. First few, I didn't have so Sauce says the first few hours of Red Dead Redemption 2 was kind of rough. I didn't have a problem with it. It is a little slow going, but I don't know. To me, Red Dead Redemption 2, that's an experience that kind of stays in my head. To me, that is like game of the year material. Whereas God of War, maybe it was the best game on the PlayStation at the time, but I don't know. I would even say Spider-Man was a better game than that. And yeah. So, anyways, I finally finished God of War. My trophies are like from 2018 and 2020 and finally 2025 when I finally finished that game. But whatever. So 2 more games. Oh yeah, I also played. So I don't forget, because everybody has to know. I played Din's Curse. You ever play that game, Richard?
What is that?
So Din's Curse, it's like it's on the PC, and it is like a indie version of a Diablo game. Very simple game. You would probably dig it. It's it usually goes on sale very cheap for like under $2 or something. It's very like, it's an indie game, so the graphics aren't like going to blow you away. The menu system, it feels like a menu system from like a Windows 98 program or something.
Yeah, it's got all the little
the bubbles,
key
like
boxes at the bottom.
Yeah, like think like Netscape or something like that. But it's a fun game. It's simple. There's not much of a story. It just throws you into a town, and you have died, and you've died, and it turns out like you were an atheist basically. You didn't believe in any entity, and it turned out that the entity that you were supposed to be faithful to during your life was Din, the god Din. And so Din has cursed you to doing his bidding until you pay off his debt. And once you pay off his debt, then you can you've redeemed your soul. So to pay off your debt, he gives you basically like these assignments. Like so, you're in a town and you need to liberate this town by doing quests inside the town. And there's a dungeon inside the town, and it goes down 15 levels, and you kind of just go through, and it's all like basic stuff like just kill a certain amount of enemies, or just find some objects, or find something so we can make something to defend our town and all that. It gets very there are, like we were talking about, there was a debate on Red Dead Redemption 1 being better. It might have been, I don't know. Like I said, I'm talking about 2018. Yeah, it might have been, I don't know. Anyways, what the heck? Oh yeah, so we were talking about anxiety in games. So there are some missions that did give me anxiety because you can go down into the dungeons and you're trying to explore. A lot of the stuff is time based. Like if you accept the mission like the quest too early, like say if you're at level 2 and you accept a level 5 quest and it takes you a long time to get down to level 5, that quest might time out, and then you fail it, and that counts against you. You're working towards getting more reputation so you can save the town. And then basically Din says you did a good job once you save the town, and then you move on to another town, and you kind of do the process again of saving that town. So there was some that I learned not to accept quests too early, and then there were some quests that you had to go back to town because the town is being attacked, right? So they'll be attacked by some monsters or whatever. You have to go back to town and thing. Or there was one that it was a thief. There was a thief that was going around and stealing stuff from merchants, and you couldn't see him. You had to be like standing in the right spot, close enough to see him to take him out. So thankfully, though, in the options, you could turn those quests off, which I did because I did not want to have to it was just enough that the quests in the dungeon were timed, and I only had a certain amount of time to get to them. I didn't want to have to keep running back to town to go save the town. So I switched those off. And it took me about 3 or 4 towns I had to save before my soul was saved. And you could still, continue to play through the game, reach a level 100 if you want, or whatever you want to do. I was never big on that. Even on the Diablo games, I always just played the campaign, and that was always good enough for me. But if you want to do that stuff, Anyways, if you want something to scratch the Diablo itch that doesn't cost too much, it was a decent game. It's kind of fun. Over on the Wii, because Sean the Grey Ghost there, he was talking about playing Silent Hill on the Wii, Shattered Memories. Okay. And I'm like, I have that game. I keep meaning to get to it. I only played about an hour of it because it is it's a Wii game, so it uses all them Wii gimmicks and everything. Sure. So you control your character with a nunchuck, move him around with that, and then you look around. Your character's holding a flashlight, and you use the Wiimote to look around. And that's that was really cool. That felt very fluid and very nice. Like you go into a room and you need to look around, and wherever you point the Wiimote, the flashlight follows, and that was really good. The part that so you don't have any weapons or anything like that, and every once in a while, like your guy starts freaking out, and the world starts changing, and these monsters start coming after him. So you need to run away from the monsters, and the way to shake the monsters, like they'll jump on you, and you got to like shake the Wiimote to get them off you, and it works sometimes, and it doesn't work other times, or I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong or whatever. So that part was kind of frustrating, but I don't know. I might play it some more. I don't know. I'm not big on the horror games, because they kind of talk about anxiety. But I don't know. But it's okay. I might play it some more. I might not. I don't know. And finally, I think I just have one more game to talk about. Yeah. Finally, have you ever played the Deadpool game? You ever give that a whirl? Yeah.
So what is that on? Xbox One.
So this came out on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and then they got the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 got ports of the Deadpool game. I think of course, it's out of print now. You can't get it because of the whole licensing deal.
Yeah.
So you can't get the digital copies of it or whatever. So I remember I found this at an EB game, and I thought I better pick that up because I know that game is going to be, it's like the baseball games or anything with licensing and that. It kind of a lot of them disappear. So I grabbed it, and I saw that it was short, it's like a 4 or 5 hour game, and it is about a 4 or 5 hour game, and it's not bad. It's a decent kind of hack and slash shooter kind of game. You kind of do both things. It's all in third person. A little bit of platforming that was kind of frustrating, but basically, yeah, you just like any kind of hack and slash, like the Bayonetta or something like that, where you're constantly upgrading your different moves and your different weapons, and yeah, it was decent. It's not a very deep game. It the deep part was like the skill tree and all that stuff. The enemies and all that were kind of the same. You're kind of fighting the same things over and over again, but it's short. So that's kind of its saving grace, is that you're not doing, like, if it was like 20 hours of doing it, I think I wouldn't have finished it, but since it was only 4 or 5 hours, there you go. So not a bad game. I think it's like expensive because it is out of print now. I think it's like, you're looking at $60-$70 Canadian anyways to pick it up, but I wouldn't recommend it for that price. It feels more like a $10-$15 game. It is funny though. The humor kind of lands for the most part. It's not Ryan Reynolds. It's Nolan North who does the voice. He's the guy who does the voice in the Last of Us games. He does a bunch of games, some of the Assassin's Creed games and that. But anyways, yeah, he does a decent job. So there you go. Those are my video games. I've been kind
I
of
was just
around.
reminded. I saw something yesterday out of the blue of that Transformers game that came out. I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever years
Cybertron
ago.
or something.
No, the one Platinum Games did. It was like
Yeah, that's not
the
Cybertron.
cell shaded one.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called. Transformers something.
Devastation.
Devastation, is that what it was?
Oh,
I was
yeah,
just
okay.
like, oh yeah, that was a game that probably disappeared because of licensing, and I'm guessing I won't ever see it.
Drake. Yeah, sorry. Nolan North does the Drake, the Nathan Drake games, not the Last of Us. He also voices Deadpool in the Marvel versus Capcom games. And they got the guy from Wolverine is in the game, of course, and they got the guy from Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Wolverine voiceover guy in that game. Same guy.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't know his name.
think
It's just I
used
heard
to.
the voice. And, yeah.
I would know the name if I saw it, but I can't just pull that kind of stuff out of my brain anymore.
Yeah. Anyways, what about Transformers Devastation?
No, just I saw like a video pop up, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that game.
Ah,
Licensing's gone. It's not on Steam or anything, so
I have it.
I'm not
I
buying
have it
a
on Steam.
console, and yeah.
There are websites that you can buy like stuff that's been delisted from Steam. There's still codes out there, and there are third-party websites that you could buy those codes from. Apparently, I've never tried it.
I don't know. I don't care that much. I just know that the few license games that I do have on Steam on my wish list, I probably should buy before long. Like Ryan was just telling me to get that RoboCop game that came out a year or so ago.
Oh yeah, I should have got that too.
It was on sale not too long ago. I almost did it. I was like, whatever. I'll get it next time. And then, boop, RoboCop license is gone.
Yeah. There's that Terminator game too, a first-person shooter that I probably should grab too before that gets.
Is it a Terminator game?
Yeah, it came out like probably about 5 years ago now. So
Hang on.
It's like a first person Terminator.
I know there was some aliens once.
Yep. Speaking of Terminator,
Terminator Resistance, Defiance, Survivors. Which one am I looking at? There's a whole bunch of them here.
Terminator, the recent one. I don't know what the. Now you're gonna make me look it up. Terminator.
Well, it looks like it's this one. Resistance looks like a first-person shooter.
Okay.
2019.
Resistance. Yeah, 2019. Okay. Oh man, it's been 6 years. Wow. Yeah, I better get that before it disappears. Yeah, PlayStation 4. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, it's supposed to be good. Anyway, speaking of the Terminators, I watched Terminator.
Hey, 4K, fancy.
I watched Terminator 2.
Yes.
And I watched Terminator 3.
Wow, on HD DVD. I've heard, like, I still don't have a 4K player, but I've heard that the 4K Terminator 2 gets a lot of hate.
It does, and I gotta say, like a lot of the other James Cameron 4K releases, it looked good to me. I watched it. I was like, wow, this looks so. For this release, I understand a little bit of the reasoning why it gets some hate, because so they put the movie through some process in order to get rid of all the grain. And they did that for the 3D Blu-ray version of it, because apparently grain doesn't really work well with 3D. It messes up the system or something like that. And so they upgraded it to 4K. They put it on the 3D Blu-ray, and then when it came time to do a 4K release for Terminator 2, they just kind of used that instead of using a proper 4K version with grain. I don't know. I watched it. It looked great to me. I thought it looked fantastic. There was a little bit of grain in there. I also have a thing on my TV where I put it through filmmaker mode, which kind of helps with the whole soap opera effect and everything that a lot of people experience. So I don't know if that's it. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, it looked good to me. And then Terminator looked good as well. You know, people complained about the basically all the James Cameron releases except for the later ones. I don't know. Look good to me. So yeah, they still hold up. They're still great movies.
How about the third one?
So the third one,
because I've actually been meaning to watch that again. It was very recently. I was got that itch.
So for the third one, I do understand the hate. I get it. Especially, so you come off from the first one. Arnold was a great villain in the first one. Robert Patrick was a great villain in the second one. What's her name? Who played the TX in this one? She really wasn't that great. The story is very by the books, by the numbers. Like, it's just kind of action movie, check mark, get to the end kind of thing. So it definitely does not. It's not of the same caliber as the first two films. But if you look at it as just an action movie, it actually has a lot of quality to it that is you don't get in your everyday action film. A lot of the action sequences I thought were very well done. There are a lot of CG stuff in it that look really bad, but they still used a lot of practical effects, especially they had this one chase scene where Arnold is hanging off it's like this big giant crane truck that the evil TX is, and Arnold is trying to fight her on it, and he's hanging on to the hook. Kind of reminded me of Kramer at the back of the fire engine. The K-Man's got your back. But all that stuff was all practical effects. It looked great. Still held up. I was like, I was watching it. But yeah, like I get, so a lot of it was very generic. The characters felt very like just, they didn't really want to take too many risks with it until the very end, where there is a little bit of a twist at the end, which I thought was kind of executed very well. I forgot about it. So I it's definitely not of the same caliber as the first two films, but I don't think it's that bad. It's watchable, in my opinion. So I enjoyed it enough to watch it.
That seems to be the opinion I get a lot of. Is it's not great, but it's not terrible.
Yeah,
And everybody points out the crane shot and the sunglasses.
the sunglasses.
And they like put on like
yeah, okay,
starry sunglasses and talk to the
yeah,
hand and all that.
okay. So yeah, okay.
They got a couple of cringe moments.
Definitely. Like, so the thing that pisses me off a little bit about the glasses is that I'm watching. So at the beginning of the film, he's always naked. Arnold's always naked at the beginning of these films, and in this one, he ends up in a bar once again, and it's a ladies' night, right? So all the ladies are making calls, cat calls, and all that stuff because they think he's a stripper, and it's actually executed very well. Like, Sarah was laughing her ass off beside me; she was having a good time with it, and I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then they do that, like they got out of it. He walks out of it. He's wearing the outfit and all that. All he had to do is get on his motorbike and go, and it would have been perfect. And they do that stupid where he's wearing those Elton John glasses. That just they had to ruin it. They had to ruin. They could have cut right there.
That sounds like a producer call. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, it would be really funny.
Yeah, there are definitely some cringe moments. Like, the humor does not land all the time, but for the most part, like I said, it's okay. It's all right.
That's also the movie that gets a lot of flack for in the first and second Terminator movies. Every time the Terminator is after its target, it never quite gets them, because as soon as they touch them, they would kill them immediately. So it's always like they're very close to getting them. But in this one, when Arnold turns evil, he gets his hands on John Connor and he just starts throwing him around the room. It's like, just break his neck. If you're fighting that, you got that desire to kill. Write it differently.
Well, okay, so her mission was not to kill John Connor.
Well, no, I mean Arnold, the Terminator. Arnold, when he starts going haywire, and he's like, he's fighting himself.
He's fighting
like,
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just
a
weak moment.
Yeah.
I still want to watch it again.
Just set your expectations to a little better than meh.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, I did that with quite a few things that I watched.
All right.
A little better than meh.
A little better than meh.
I got a nice $1 DVD pickup here. Found this in a junk bin. You ever see the movie Hoodlum with Lawrence Fishburne, Andy Garcia, Tim Roth?
It's one of those movies that I've seen a bazillion times at the rental store or whatever and never picked up.
Well, that's why you pick them out of a junk bin for $1.
And? It's
1930s mobster kind of stuff. Lots of Tommy guns and backstabbing and deals and things like that. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's a little longer than it needs to be. Directed by Bill Duke, though. I didn't realize that until the ending.
Wow. From Predator?
Yeah, Bill Duke.
Wow.
I didn't know he had. I knew he directed one other film, which was Sister Act 2 back in Habit. Yes.
Wow.
He even has gave himself a little cameo in there. But I didn't know he had directed anything else. So it's it's nothing special. But there are a couple of good lines, a couple of good moments.
Okay. Hoodlum.
Have you ever seen... Oh, speaking of directors, like, you didn't know this actor was a director. I'm sure you knew he did, but Danny DeVito directed a few films.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Death to Smoochie?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Yeah, I had not. I think I had seen a few bits, at least when I picked this up, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, without even trying to access memory banks, I knew that Robin Williams' character was
Right.
named Rainbow Randolph.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
hadn't seen the movie. I don't know why that little tidbit had stuck with me for so long. But it's kind of a premise funny idea.
Mm,
It's like, oh, what if these, children's television hosts were awful people, thinking of backstabbing and murdering each other.
right.
It it's okay. It's not super bad. There are some
Right.
nice moments, but it does the idea gets old after a while. Pretty
My
quickly, I should say.
my buddy Frank keeps bringing that movie up. He's like, I want to watch Death of Smoochie again. I'm like, oh, you go right ahead. Count me out. I saw it once and that was enough for me. It was Jon Stewart's punchline too. For anytime someone brought up his acting,
Oh right,
he's
yes, he had a
yeah,
small role in there.
yeah.
I did like the main actress though, Catherine Keener. I don't know her from anything else, but she was good in this
I
with what
believe she
she had
was
to
in
do.
40-Year-Old Virgin, and she pops up in a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
yeah, she pops up in a lot of comedies.
All right, all right, all right. Yeah, she was really good in this. Um, and then another. Oh, you spoke about Deadpool earlier. This was another picked out of the garbage thing. I got a copy of Green
Yeah,
Lantern,
yeah.
the rental Blu-ray.
Oh
I
my
I
god.
have actually seen this,
Mm,
and it's not good, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be.
mm. I I remember hate watching it. I was
Hate
like,
watching.
well, okay, so I went in and I was like, I want to give this movie a chance because I love liking something that everybody hates. And I started
Sure.
watching it, and I'm like, yeah, this is not going to be one of the movies. And I was just like, I couldn't I couldn't wait
It's
for it to
more
get
of
at
a
the end. I
movie
remember,
that I want to like
yeah,
because even though I don't know anything too much about the Green Lantern character, I've never read his comics. I just know of him through all the other, DC things. I really like the concept of his character. I like the fact that uh, the Green Lantern is a hero that's selected. It's not an accident like, oh, now I got spider powers. Now I've got, this and I just become great. I really like the idea that there's a unit out there, some agency, the Lantern Corps, that says, you're the right person. You may not understand why, but we see something in you why we're going to give you this power. And I think the whole idea that you've got this ring that can, generate whatever it is you think of, and you can do all these creative things with it. It's a lot of fun. It's just the movie, from what I remember, it gets too silly in the wrong at the wrong times, and
yeah.
the- you know the whole CGI costume didn't help any.
The animated films, the Warner Brothers animated films with that feature the Green Lantern. I remember watching a few of those, and those were decent. Like if you're looking for something Green Lantern related,
Mhm.
that's actual of quality, you should check those out.
I did like. I watched a little bit of the Justice League animated series that came out after the Batman animated series.
Yeah.
And I did like Phil Lamar as the Green Lantern. I liked his voice, and
Mm,
there's that Marvel Ultimate Alliance game I was playing a while back, and you can like hack it and put in all other characters, and they put in his version of Green Lantern in there. It's
right.
kind of cool. You can hear that voice and run around with the ring powers. It's fun stuff, but I don't know. At least this is the extended edition, so I get
Oh,
even
good.
more green goodness.
Yeah, you need that.
Oh, and oh no, there's some sort of bonus Green Lantern animated series thing on here.
Oh, well, that might have
Okay,
been
well
where I've
maybe.
seen it. I might have checked that out on because I did I got that Blu-ray at some point. I don't think I've ever bought it, but I did watch it on Blu-ray. I remember that.
Okay.
So
Well,
that might have been what I saw. So there you go. Check that out.
check it out for $1. There you go. The only other thing I have here is a movie that I know you don't enjoy. I finally picked up a copy of Shaolin Soccer because I've been
Yeah.
looking for this.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to buy this so many times, but this is the Japanese release, so it only has Japanese and Chinese available. But I've seen this movie so many times, I think
Yeah, you
I
don't
can
need
wing
that.
it. Yeah.
Does it have English subtitles?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, that's kind of the. I would love to have at least English subtitles and something like this, but nah. Well, my kids like it, so
That's something to watch with the kids.
yeah. Fun stuff. That's it. That's all the physical things I brought with me.
Well, that's it for me as well.
Hmm.
But we did an hour and 45, so that's enough.
Hmm.
So it's good.
Hmm.
Guess we could just wrap it up. Nothing left to say.
Well, don't you want to answer all these comments we got coming in?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. Thanks to everybody in the comment section, i.e., Rambox
First.
and Sauce. It's Rocket Sauce.
Hmm.
I got nothing to plug. Nothing else to say. Elbows
Go
up.
play Castlevania.
Yeah, Castlevania's good times. I enjoyed that game. And I don't know, maybe next time I will have finished Silent Hill Shattered Memories. I might shatter my pants before it's finished because it is a scary game.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've
All right.
only ever played the first Silent Hill, and I think I did beat it, but I got a bad ending.
I played Silent Hill Origins on the PSP. And Silent Hill Downpour. Those are my two Silent Hill games. I played all the way to the end. I remember messing around with the PS1 game. Oh, and I did play Silent Hill 2 with the Cartridge Club. That was like one of the early episodes.
Oh
Check
yeah.
that out.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah. The dog ending is great.
The dog ending.
The dog ending. I don't know. Downward dog. All right. Well, before we turn into dogs, I don't know. Is that how you wrap up a show? Let's just say it is. Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for watching and listening, and we will catch you the next time. Bye.
Bye.